Sports Center, El Duncan solo for the next 90 minutes, and we are packed. We're setting you up for the finals in both the NBA and the NHL final and catching up with the latest around NFL OTAs. But we start with the biggest news out of New York on the day. The Knicks firing coach Tom Thibodeau after the team fell short in the East Finals. In his first year, he helped New York snap a 7-year playoff drought, gets coach of the year, and made the postseason in 4 of his 5 seasons. But the Knicks title drought is now at 52 years and counting. For more, let's bring in the man that broke this story for us, our senior NBA insider, Shams Charania. It was the Knicks' most successful season in 25 years, Shams. How did they come to this decision?
Over the last 24, 48 hours, El, I'm told the Knicks had internal meetings. President Leon Rose, owner James Dolan, all participated in it, along with players. And they came to the conclusion, Leon Rose and James Dolan did this morning, that they were going to be firing Tom Thibodeau as the head coach. I'm told that Leon Rose informed Tom Thibodeau in a face-to-face, in-person meeting at the Knicks facility today. And so despite 4 or 5 seasons with Tibbs at the helm, they were in the playoffs. Back-to-back seasons of 50-plus wins for the first time since the 1990s. The Knicks believed that they had reached their ceiling under Tom Thibodeau. They felt like they needed a new voice to take this team to a whole nother level. And this all comes down to the fact that the Knicks believed their window to win a championship was this season and for the next few years. And they felt that by making this coaching change, they are going to have a new voice that's going to allow this team to potentially win a championship. They felt like Tom Thibodeau was not going to be that guy moving forward.
Yeah, listen, on the one hand, you say, wow, a guy that finally gets them back to the conference finals and gets fired doesn't seem like a job that you would want, but it's New York and they've got a hell of a roster. What type of coach will they be looking for as Tibbs' replacement?
Someone that's adaptable, flexible, obviously more lenient on the bench, and adaptable in terms of how he's going to manage his rotations. We saw Tom Thibodeau finally go about 9 players deep in his rotation late in this series against the Indiana Pacers. But before that, during the season, Mikal Bridges, one of the star players of this team, came out and made comments about how Tom Thibodeau needs to trust the bench more, that he had been playing the stars potentially too much. And so you think about comments like that when an active player under Tom Thibodeau says that. That had never happened before for a Tom Thibodeau laden team. And so is there a coach out there that can instill confidence from the first unit down to the bench? That's what the Knicks are going to be looking for, someone that's adaptable in 2025, 2026.
Yeah, you saw some of that rigidity change in Game 3 when he decided to bench Josh Hart and go with a bit of a different lineup, but it took those first 2 losses to get there. Tibbs, by the way, has a .579 career winning percentage as a head coach. That is the highest by any head coach without a finals appearance in NBA history. Shams Charania with the latest. Of course, we've got to hear the perspective from the #1 Knicks fan, Stephen A. Smith, who was on NBA Today a little earlier reacting to the news.
When you look at it from the standpoint of him being gone, it's like a scapegoat mentality. I think this is incredibly bad because guess what? You traded 5 picks to get Mikal Bridges. That wasn't on Tom Thibodeau. That was on Leon Rose. That's the name that we need to be talking about right now when a move like this is made. You traded 5 picks, 4 unprotected for Mikal Bridges. You traded Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, okay, along with an additional first-round pick for Karl Anthony Towns. So that's 6 picks right there you gave away. At least 4 unprotected, arguably 5. And I'm looking at it from that standpoint, and we're talking about Tom Thibodeau today being without a job. I think that's unfair. I really, he does not deserve to be fired. This was a bad move as far as I'm concerned by the New York Knicks, especially since you don't have somebody like Ty Lue or Eric Spoelstra out there waiting for you. I don't like it at all.
So this is interesting because we showed this exact same betting odds yesterday, and apparently it has not been impacted by the fact the Knicks don't have a coach. Bettors actually like the Knicks' chances to contend for the title a year from now. They're tied with the Pacers for the second shortest odds to win the 26th NBA title, only behind the Thunder. Tony and Frank have much more in tonight's PTI bonus topic.
All right, Frank, are you surprised that the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau?
No, I'm not surprised because there's a reason why the Knicks have been a dysfunctional, losing franchise for the better part of a quarter century, because I don't know what they're doing. So along comes a guy, they hire him, who was on Jeff Van Gundy's bench in the late 90s when they actually mattered and went to the finals and conference finals. He turns his dumpster fire into a competent, winning basketball team. Back-to-back 50-win seasons, the first time they've done that in 30 years. 10 playoff wins this year, first time they've done that in 25 years, and they get rid of the coach. It absolutely makes no sense. And Tony, they kept moving the goalposts. You better beat Detroit. You better be competitive against Boston. They beat Boston. Then it was, well, you lost to Indiana. You want to know why they lost to Indiana? A miracle shot in game one by Tyrese Halliburton. And because Halliburton and Pascal Siakam outplayed the Knicks' two best players, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. That's how it usually works in these playoff series.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to the original question, am I surprised? I'm not surprised. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I mean, Tom Thibodeau was at the helm for the Knicks' resurgence when the Garden mattered again, when people talked about the Knicks on the streets of Manhattan, which they hadn't done in a long time. Prior to him, they had 9 coaches in 18 seasons. Now, I don't know. Maybe the players didn't like him. Maybe the owner didn't like him. Maybe somebody in management didn't like him. But he produced better results than they had had in 20 years and canned them. That's stunning to me. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, they better have somebody in mind, and they better make that thing work, or else the people in New York, the fans of the Knicks, are going to say, what are you doing? Why did you get rid of this guy?
Yeah. And it's hard to think, oh, don't worry, they got this. There's not a lot of people in that front office that have been part of winning basketball team. The guy that's won a lot has been Tom Thibodeau. Let's also remember he was an assistant in Boston when they went to 2 finals and won a championship as well. All right, that's it.
And that is here in Bristol. Christine Williamson, Matt Berry with you for a little Sports Center happy hour. And in Big D, they hope things are happier this year with a new head coach.
It's also 5 o'clock in New York City, where they are hoping things are going to be better with a new head coach. That's TBD. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves and start with that shocker out of New York. It's the breaking news. The Knicks have fired their head coach, Tom Thibodeau, after falling short in the East Finals this year. Tibbs helped New York snap a 7-year playoff drought in his first year and took them to the postseason 4 out of his 5 seasons. But their title drought is now 52 years. For more on the Knicks firing their head coach, let's bring in Shams Charania. Shams, why did the Knicks decide to make this move now?
Christine, simply the Knicks believe they need a new voice to take this team to the next step. They felt like Tom Thibodeau's voice had waned, and they simply felt like they need someone else to take this team to a championship level, that someone else will be better suited to lift this team to that threshold. And over the last 24, 48 hours, the Knicks had held meetings internally about Tom Thibodeau, his future, the rest of the roster. And today, Leon Rose, the team president and owner, James Dolan, came to this decision to part ways and fire Tom Thibodeau. But you think about the success that he had. 4 or 5 seasons in the playoffs. He won 50-plus games in back-to-back seasons for the first time in Knicks history since the 1990s. And so a tremendous amount of success, but they feel like they need a voice to take this team to a whole nother level.
And Shams, you were on this show yesterday, and you kind of set it up by saying they're evaluating everything, and they in fact did that 24 hours later, evaluated that they need a new head coach. And when you look around the NBA, you got Michael Malone in Denver, Taylor Jenkins, they were fired just before their teams started the playoffs this season. Seems to be a trend where coaches are having a lot of success with their franchise and they're being shown the door. Why are we seeing this go on lately around the league?
I think a lot of it is the parity around the league. All of these teams feel like they are right there on the cusp of winning a championship. And the Knicks specifically built this roster: Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Those are the 3 really star-type players that they have acquired over the last year and a half. And when you go out and make those moves, you have expectations of winning a championship. And the Knicks believe that their window to win a championship was this season, and they fell short. And they feel the roster is adequate. And when a team feels that way, the pressure usually falls on the head coach. In Michael Malone's instance with Denver, they felt they needed a new voice. They end up winning a round. And now the Knicks feel like the next coach they bring in will allow them to move into a championship threshold. We'll see if they'll prove right.
Shams, all I know, the next time you're on SportsCenter with us, be it 2 or 5 p.m., and you see a team's evaluating things, I'll just be ready for the news the next day. Fair? Find entertaining about this. It was 24 hours yesterday right here at this very moment. We had our take 2 about the Knicks. And you and I both sat up here and said, no way, you don't fire Tibbs. Bad move.
Yeah.
24 hours later, he's out of a job.
Still possibly a bad move. We don't know yet, but TBD.
I just don't know how you do it after everything he did for the franchise. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to find out from Kendrick Perkins joining us now for some reaction to this. And Perk, simply put, right or wrong to can Tibbs?
It was wrong as hell, and I completely agree with Stephen A. Tom Thibodeau didn't deserve this, man, at all. You're talking about Tom Thibodeau, who has led this organization, the Knicks organization, to 4 postseasons out of his 5 seasons being there. Right? You were 2 games away from going to the NBA Finals. Tom Thibodeau wasn't out there trying to play defense. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns were the ones that were getting picked on. Josh Hart decided to disappear in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I said this after game 2. I actually tweeted it out. I said, listen, Karl Anthony Towns being benched in game 2, if the Knicks go on to lose this series, is going to cost Tom Thibodeau his job. And this is the second time that Tom Thibodeau has been fired fired as a coach while Karl Anthony Towns has been on the roster. The first time in Minnesota and now with the New York Knicks, which raised a red flag to me that somebody in that locker room don't like to be held accountable.
That's a very interesting point, Perk. When you think about who could coach this team, there's been a lot of names floating out there. Who do you think is the right fit?
Well, they released a statement. They said they're about winning championships. So, they're trying to win the championship. You got to go get a championship level coach. The only one that's available right now, in my opinion, is Michael Malone, who just got let go from the Denver Nuggets. We're talking about a guy that is from that area, right? From that area, and we're talking about a champion. We saw him get the best out of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, especially on the defensive side of things, if you want to address that issue. You bring in Michael Malone, and I hear a lot of people out there talking about Jay Wright, and I just got off the phone with our good friend and good colleague, Greeny, because he tweeted Jay Wright, and I said, no. You got to be neutral in this. You got to bring somebody in the locker room that's not going to play favoritism towards the Nova Knicks, towards a Jalen Brunson or a Josh Hart, but that's going to hold everybody accountable. Because, to be honest, it wasn't just the defense, it was the offense. You have Rick Brunson sitting on the bench as well. And I love Rick Brunson, but he was an assistant coach. What happens with him?
Yeah, look, there's a lot to sort out with the Knicks, especially after getting rid of the Celtics, who were the bane of everyone's existence in the Eastern Conference. I could get into why I'd make Perk my candidate, but we don't have time for that. So we'll sit tight and
I'd rather be here with y'all, Matt.
Thank you. All right, well, good for
I need
you.
my peace and sanity.
Yeah, so in 30 seconds, you're coming right back.
With these new guys in this locker room.
What's your favorite team? Comment below, and if you liked the video, please leave a like. This really helps the channel grow and brings you even more content. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive all notifications. With each game, we notice that the NBA is getting more competitive every day, and all the teams are looking for reinforcements to win the championship. And only here can you follow your favorite team daily with incredible content from different sources. Here on the channel, there are new videos every day with analysis, curiosities, and the best moments in basketball. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for following along. The NBA doesn't stop, and neither do we. Until the next video. NBA, the passion that connects us.